This is Margaret in Windsor, and my father's Edward VIII, the picture here. And when they kidnapped me in 41 at age 2, I was born in 39, the two men that I can remember that dropped me off at Lina Dempsey's, it was in Moulton, Alabama. It was like a pigsty. That's the only way you can describe how they lived and the place they lived in. There were a set of twins, Peggy and Carl Dempsey. The mother was born out of wedlock. I guess I said that. I've said it so many times on some other tapes. But she had killed them. They were born about a year prior to me. And when they put me there, Carl had been killed a month after his birth. And they killed Peggy about a week to 2 weeks before they dropped me off there. So it was planned. My kidnapping and being put there and my identity stolen and given the name of Peggy, who they had killed, and I think I've put up here how they killed her. So anyway, I've put their pictures and all this up so many times I'm not going to again. I wrote about mind control murders. This was before I could remember and was told my real name. And I was told, and I know that. I can think back at times when I vehemently told Lina Dempsey, as bad as she beat me and everything, I told her she wasn't my mother. So I knew, but I just couldn't articulate it or anything. I did remember after 83, after I was in the campaign out at Mr. Flint's, and he helped me in the campaign, and then he endorsed me in Hustler magazine April of 84 when I ran or thought I was for the presidency. By the way, he furnished me a car for a year, no money or anything. I ran around and my jobs ran out to where they were blocked. I did work through Kensington, telesecretary in Kensington, Maryland, for Ron Ziegler. He was on the White House staff of Richard Nixon, thus the Bloomingdale tapes, and thus Henry Kissinger, that I've told about what's on the 18.5-minute gap that was subpoenaed by the Watergate Commission, and thus they tried to tear the tape up, because that's where Henry Kissinger, Victor Gonzalez, and some doctors were going to have me killed. I was laid out on the table if my family or country didn't come cross their palms with whatever they asked. So I've been a hostage. Anyway, I was writing about mind control murders, 76, till they almost killed me again. This is again April Fool Day of 80. This is all just an April Fool game to Henry Kissinger, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, my own family, George, the illegal six, and Elizabeth, who's illegal, a traitor, a war criminal, living high on the hog, excuse the pun. Anyway, they've always known about Wallace Simpson marrying a double. There was more than one double, by the way. And my father never abdicated. He married my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, school teacher, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe from born in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, this was my dad, and there was a portrait like this one, except the hat, minus the hat, and he was holding me in a christening gown where I'd just been christened. Whatever happened to it, it was put up. You could hardly get it through because this house was a shack. And I remember being afraid. I was little. I had all kinds of things. A tin pail of water fell on my toe. I was trying to get a drink. Nobody would give me water. And just about all kinds of stuff. How some of it healed, I don't know, because it did. Anyway, where am I here? Let me just stop with that. I don't know what happened to the portrait. So I was christened in Church of England, and my mom was Queen of England in 36. And quite frankly, Cosmos Lang, the Archbishop of Canterbury, helped Winston Churchill and my own Uncle George, who became the illegal monarch. How's that, the Mafia Illuminati can take down a monarch. My dad with character assassination when he's married to my mom, and they got him marrying Wallace Simpson, the American Spy, when really she married a double. So now then, I do want to tell this part. It doesn't show on this page, I don't think, about the Tesla files. I had the book, and it's been so long that I couldn't carry everything. It's talking here, though. I'll just show this because I think the FBI and the papers, the FBI and the Tesla files. Tesla right there, you can't. Tesla papers. 1943 to what? I can't see. 1943. I'm wasting time, aren't I? I don't know, though. Well, I don't have it on there. It's up there, but I just can't read it. I need glasses. These are about, I got them in 2011. How's that? No, I'll take that back. 2012, January, I think. Anyway, here I go, trying to tell this. So now then, the Tesla files were supposed to be stolen by, they were stolen by the Illuminatis who stole them. Global government that kidnapped me and took my dad down. And after they took my dad down and kidnapped me, it made way so they could come in and plant the military bases on everything British. Make the British fight against their own best interests. The Brits' own best interest. So tired. And it seems to get nowhere. Where did I get to? And thus, if you look at the timeline, after 41, when I was kidnapped, and 36 when they took my father down, 37 is when they installed George VI, the illegal, Elizabeth's father, the traitors, and war criminals, and 37 was when Wallace married the double, the lookalike, the imposter. There was more than one. Now, I want to skip to this. Well, here, I just want to show this, too. This is Uncle George. And that's Roosevelt's mother at Hyde Park. And this, this is his wife. Excuse me, Eleanor. Because, just a few months ago, I read part of her biography, or autobiography, and it tells about her relationship. Well, right here it is, but her relationship to the United Nations and to up here in Stanton, where Anastasia was killed in Charlottesville. And it was Anna, and she was killed there. That was in Stanton, Virginia. It's out from Charlottesville, was Woody Woodrow Wilson. And isn't it odd? Some of this gets too much for oddity. You wonder how far back it was all planned. Woody was the name of the man that played Larry Flint in the Flint movie, Flint Versus, and all the parody stuff that was in Jerry Falwell Liberty University. Suing Flint, and I was living on the Appalachian Trail after I'd been out there in this campaign. Now I've lost my train of thought, I really have. Anyway, Eleanor was very much the global government, the United Nations, which is alive, and that's your global government. So the end times, whether anybody likes to admit it, is here. And it's talking about, I'm going to tell this in just a minute, though, but I want to show you this one. Eleanor was also real close to Woody Woodrow Wilson. Now, I will always know and believe, I do, that Woodrow Wilson was part of the takedown of the Romanovs, who are related to me, cousins. And thus Anastasia was next door in Charlottesville when she was killed in 1984. And Stanton's, well, a lot happened to me in Stanton. The car that was furnished by Larry Flint was towed. Not funny, it's so hideous. back when I had it, and Anna had been killed. And then I started doing research and find out that Eleanor Roosevelt, etc., was real close to Woody Woodrow Wilson, who became president and was from Stanton, Virginia. The United Nations and all this. Here's Eleanor, and she's shaking hands in 41 after they'd kidnapped me. This is October. Job well done. They'd kidnapped me in spring of that year, 41, and passed me on to Moulton, Alabama, giving me the name of a dead twin who was born out of wedlock. So you can imagine back then what they call me. I grew up with her name, and most of the people, some of them knew the truth, but anyway. Look at what I've done. I've told it, and here's what I wanted to put up, because I was talking about mind control murders, and Larry Flint was shot. In Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing the book. I started doing it in 76, and I moved to Moonraker Apartments, and he was shot on March the 6th, 78. By a program shooter, and I was writing about the Tesla files, which were stolen by really the Illuminati, and then Morgan Chase, that was listed in that article I just put up there. And this is the odd thing, because back in 76, I didn't know anything about Donald Trump, who's now President Donald Trump, but this is on videos on YouTube, and I just put it up there where they say that his uncle stole the Tesla files, and it's more than what I was writing about. You can cure an illness or create it. So they've had a cure for cancer and all of it since 30 and before, and programming people like King Ferdinand was shot by a program shooter way back then, and his wife Sophie and killed. So you can use it, and it's in mass. And I want to put this up real quick. It's going to go out. I hear a door slamming. I don't know. I don't think I can talk louder than people's TV, but anyway. Now I lost my train of thought. So let me go to this. The way I knew that the murders were done in patterns was I was doing the book, and I knew they were being done. I didn't know they were putting chips at first. Well, yeah, I did find that out. In root canals and heart bypasses way back then, and seal it on a root canal. So if you went in and asked a doctor, did you have a chip in your root canal that was sealed, and asked him to take it out, he'd have your hauled off to the mental hospital. This is what they've used with it. It has nothing to do with mental illness. It's a scapegoat for using mind control, and they can control armies. They can control football games, outcome, horse racing. And can you imagine if you can program the players and predict the outcome? You can go and bet, and man, you could make a whole lot of money. But they can program armies. So I'm going to show you this, though, because I was writing about it. And implantable biochips, this was in 96. A few years earlier, it was printed, published by Tex Mars. Implantable biochips, a church down here near me had someone give it to me. And it talks about the end times and what mark of the beast, biochips, just what I've been telling about since 76, implantable biochips. And they told about Timothy McVeigh, which I'd already told, that he was programmed. He had a chip up his buttocks by the Army. And he was programmed, and he went out, and he was put to death. Put the bomb in the Murray Building, Oklahoma City. Now, talking about microchips and all that, which I was talking about. And it's Project Lucid by Tex Mars. I thought Tex, I hope I got it right. Jim or Tex Mars, I believe. Somebody corrected me about that. He was talking about Mark of the Beast and prophecies and all that. George Orwell's and So this is what I'd been writing about before this book was ever. It was in '96, about that time that it was published. But the only thing I'm going to say here, because this is going to go off, and I just cannot do it again. I'm getting my arms from holding this little camera over the years. YouTube since 2013 in August. Yeah. And prior on Facebook 2012 in April, I think it was. Yeah. So I've been doing this, and it's gotten my arms where I don't have any feelings in them. So I've got to stop it soon. It's not doing me any good, I don't suppose, anyway. But I wanted to, if I can, get this up here. Some of the things, when the patterns, some of them can be proven right now, and I wish it would be that proven. It's ridiculous how it's been suppressed. But anyway, if I can keep my train of thought, the Jesse Matthews, a black man who's in prison up in Fairfax, Virginia, that's one of them you can prove. You can really prove that one. Well, you can the others once you get people's attention and get it in court. Or make the media, which is controlled by the Illuminati that kidnapped me, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds. They're not going to do it. If they haven't done it in all these 80 years, they're not going to do it unless they're forced. Now, before this goes out, how someone asked how I know. No one asked me, I don't think. I've put it up there. They were done in patterns, and I had a letter from the FBI June the 23rd, which is my father's birthday, by the way, but it was 79, and I'm almost killed April Fool Day of 80. And I worked for, I don't know how I did it, how I lived, I did, worked for the Madison County. Madison County is where I found out my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, was born, that married my dad, King Edward VIII. Okay, you got a pattern right there, which I didn't know at the moment. Simpson, that I worked for, was in Wallace Warfield Simpson, supposed to marry my father, King Edward VIII, and of course she didn't. That was a lie. And later I put it together. But right now I want to go to this. In the campaign at Flint's, all my money came from the, in Vegas, at the casinos. I've never met anybody out there. So, oh God. So anyway, that's put up. Anybody can look at that. You have to file that. So anyway, it's some other stuff I started to tell, but I don't want to get somebody in trouble that tried to help. I'm not sure it would, but just saying their name. Anyway, I'm just going to go to this, and I'm not going to explain anymore. It's not doing any good. And anyway, when it's end times that were allowed to happen after they took my father down, the illegal treaties and allowing the United States to come in and help some of my own people, God help it, take over the Brits and my relatives, Denmark, Sweden, etc. Make them go along because it's a monarch system. And all of it's illegal. And they even put the war tribunal and all that in the Netherlands. And that's Henry Kissinger, who's high up, who tried to have me murdered. It's on the Watergate tapes. So now then, this is going to go off, so I am going to skip. How I knew that the murders were done in mind control. There's a lot of murders happen every day that the media don't publish. And these were specifically put up by the media over the years, and they were in patterns. And I'm just going to put this up now. It is the end times that are in place. The United Nations is the global government. Up in